So for my marketing analysis, I have chose the hit film It, based on Stephen King's novel and directed by Andy Muschietti. So I chose this based on the 2017 version, which we know that there was the chapter two that came out in 2019, but focusing on the marketing that was used for the first movie released. So we know this is the adaptation from the book novel from Stephen King, and it was easily one of the most instantly successful horror movies ever. The production team was produced by New Line Cinema, Cat Smith Productions, Lynn Pictures, and Vertigo Entertainment, and then distributed by Warner Brothers, which this was prior to the acquisition by TNT that happened in 2018, that transitioned them into Warner Media, but we can consider them as the same. And then here's just a small little snapshot of the domestic and global revenue box office at the box office. So you can see both of them totaled over 3 million each, which we know global tends to do a lot better on most films, but this one was a lot more. Together, they both equated to over 700 million, which is crazy, and it actually ended up uh, knocking Exorcist out as the top horror genre. Going into some of the key cast members, I just pulled a few and threw them on the screen just to hone in on a couple that I thought were important. So let's start with Finn in the middle. So we know him from Stranger Things, and I think this is a really key player that they chose to play kind of like the leader of the pack of the kids group, one of the stronger cast members to take on that lead because he is well known in Stranger Things, so that was a really good pick for them. And then first over here, Bill, I'm not sure how to say his last name, but he starred in Deadpool in 2016, and then we see him as Pennywise. So being a main character and already being one really successful film. Then lastly, Jaden Martell. We see him in the book Henry in 2017 that came out at the same time as it, and then later on he stars in Knives Out in 2019. So these are just a few that I pulled from the cast list. Some existing intellectual property. So we know that it's based on Stephen King's novel that came out in 1986. And then off of that, we see ABC have a two-part drama miniseries, and it was released in 1990. So this was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace and Lawrence D. Cohen. So again, all of these things have been based off of Stephen King and his works of the novel, and then we just keep seeing it being redone in different ways. So after the first film was released in 2017, we then see Chapter 2 come out in 2019. So many fans were raving and waiting for this release because of the anticipated uh, turnout for it. For the target audience, after doing some research, they really focused on their social media marketing and offline marketing to be um, indirect with each other, but also flow from one to the other. So with that, they used Twitter and Instagram for their social media marketing, and I think they knew what they were doing with this. They were reaching that younger demographic, those who are like the age of 15 to 24, to really hone in on that. But then when it comes to those who are in the 30 to 50-year-old demographic, these are going to be the more nostalgic people who remember the miniseries that was released by ABC and then almost feel that nostalgia through the 8-bit games on the website. Then I went ahead and included all genders and sexual orientation. So a couple of films that I decided that were very similar, like I had mentioned The Exorcist already, it had surpassed The Exorcist with its overall profit, and its popularity was a lot. It was surpassed, kind of knocked Exorcist off its pedestal for being the historic horror genre film. So then also Annabelle, I chose this one because it is very similar in the fact that their main character is like in Annabelle the doll, and then in It, Pennywise, they have these entities that it's surrounded by. So I just thought that was a good comparison, and also is a very popular series as well. And then building up to the release of the film, the advertisements and marketing content that was published on the platforms really helped to push people to the theaters. So like I had mentioned, the website was launched and it had photos, synopsis, and the 8-bit game on there as well that was an interactive option for people. Through Twitter, they had posted GIFs and posters like you see to the right of it based off of Halloween posters. They were just integrating in every different holiday to push the advertising perspective. And then if you see at the bottom right, there is a missing poster, and there's a lot of these posted of the different kids in the movie, and Andy was actually posting this himself. And along with Andy, we see Barbara. She's the producer, and she went ahead and posted a couple of photos that ended up bringing a lot of likes in, of the kids that were in the loser club. So that includes Finn Wolfhard's character. And then along with her and Andy's efforts, Stephen King went ahead and took to Twitter, and he made the statement of praising the remake of It, and it kind of eliminated all doubt that the horror fans have had to the film, and really pushed the ticket sales and increased it greatly from his response. I don't know. They got stuck. Okay, great. So then if right here we can see some feedback and how it was received from people. So there's a couple different screenshots of tweets where this is a great example because it's where people can go and sound off and comment directly back on a platform. So a lot of people are saying that it was a really fun movie, wasn't too scary. They liked it. It was brilliant. You can see on the far right side there's actually movie tickets for it. And then just people continue saying they love it. I have a screen recording also to show here at the end in just a second. So the pre-sales really put the movie back on track, which estimated $60 million at the box office during the opening weekend, but it ended up doing way, way more than that. So it doubled the number of total of $117.2 million by the end of the weekend. So that is the third highest grossing movie of 2017. So a couple that it beat was Spider-Man Homecoming, Beauty and the Beast, and then Guardians of the Galaxy #2. So that just shows you how well it did during this time. It was highly anticipated, and it was getting a lot of great feedback from people on Twitter. Like I said, I will go back to that video in just a second. So leading off on why was going to social media their best marketing strategy, they really used it to its finest. It allowed for the audience to be interacted with in the best way possible because they knew who exactly was their audience. So the executive team knew their demographic and how to reach them online. They knew that people would be intrigued from the nostalgia if they had heard of the It series before, or if they were new and they just liked the horror genre, and then this was something that they were reaching to people on Twitter and Instagram with. They were able to reveal engaging details. They made the audience feel like they were in this together, but it still built up that suspense and recognizable imagery that anticipated excitement for the film. So the example is like with the red balloon, we see that everywhere, and it's, you almost connotate that immediately with it. Same with the yellow rain jacket that Georgie wears. Like I said, it's all suspense built, and it's all that imagery that really goes into making it influential. And then on the right, you can see it is a global phenomenon, and it definitely was indeed. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, but then show one quick thing separate. This was just a small clip that I took from my phone. And I go to Instagram and just open it up and immediately go to search for just the movie. And I wanted to see what was out there and how people were responding to it when it was released. And there's so many fan pages. I was so surprised that are still active. Here's the hashtag It the Movie. You can see it has over 100,000 posts tagged to it. And so continuing, there's just so much content, and they're still up to date. They're still posting very currently. And I'm going to scroll through and you can see how many there actually were. There was a lot. So that just shows that it was received really well from the audience.